The first version of Snow White was like 80 something years ago. So it's kind of dated. Snow White is much more proactive. She's not going to be saved by the prince.
Once upon a time, in a kingdom powered by billion-dollar franchises, Disney set out to revive a classic fairy tale. With glittering hopes, a towering budget, and two stars poised to enchant the world, the stage was set for a new era of princess magic. Snow White. The goal was a blockbuster rebirth of nostalgia and royalty.
I'm sure if the Queen was aware of how desperate things have gotten, she would be happy to share. I at least have to try.
But when the curtain lifted, it wasn't a royal return, rather a royal disaster. And now, Gal Gadot, yes, that Gal Gadot, the one playing the evil queen, thinks she knows why. According to her, it's not the endless rewrites or the awkward PR, not even the fact that Snow White kinda hated being Snow White. No, she believes the real villain is politics, specifically the pressure on celebrities to speak out against Israel. But is that the truth? Or just another bedtime story spun to avoid Hollywood accountability? Stick around and find out, but we're warning you, things are about to be a bit intense. Let's rewind. Gadot appeared on the A Talks, an Israeli broadcast show where she got pretty candid about her disappointment. She said she genuinely thought Snow White would be a massive hit. She loved the experience, enjoyed working with Rachel Zegler, and walked off set thinking this was going to be one of the crown jewels in her career. But then came the start of the Gaza conflict. Gadot, who served in the Israeli military, didn't hold back on her views. She said the pressure on celebrities to speak out against Israel created a hostile environment, and that this political toxicity seeped into the film's reception. According to her, the climate shifted dramatically, especially in progressive spaces, and the movie became collateral damage. Okay, that's her narrative. But let's be real for a second. If movie flops were caused by tense global politics, every film released in basically the entire history of films would be in ashes. And yet, it is true that political silence or speech has become a dangerous tool to wipe out entire careers and cancel celebrities forever. We clearly saw that with Taylor Swift's late response to voter encouragement and Dua Lipa's pro-Palestinian posts. Even Joey Swole got dragged by internet mobs for posing as Hulk Hogan for a day. It's insanity, and the pressure is real. But does that mean people boycotted Snow White en masse because Gal Gadot didn't issue the right tweet? Or is that just a narrative that conveniently dodges some creative accountability? Disney has been limping through the box office battlefield for years now. This isn't new. They've been pumping out live-action remakes like it's 2015 forever. But Snow White was cursed from the start. Let's look at the ingredients. One of the movie's lead actresses, Rachel Zegler, found herself in viral controversy territory every time she opened her mouth. Zegler managed to piss off Disney traditionalists by calling the original 1937 classic outdated and patriarchal. She flat out said Snow White doesn't need a prince and isn't waiting around for a man to save her. That didn't sit well with the childhood nostalgia is sacred crowd at all. The film's delayed timeline was a comedy of errors. It's flat out embarrassing. Between COVID reshoots, thousands of rewrites, visual effects delays, and even a fire on set. It's like the universe was begging for this movie to not be made. And to stir up more tension, Zegler and Gadot were clearly on opposite sides of the Middle East political spectrum, and hence endless PR nightmares were born. The original concept was rewritten so many times it's unclear what genre it even is anymore. The movie strayed away so much from its original Disney love story, fans were conflicted on whether or not it played better as an action film rather than a classic memory. At one point, there were rumors they were calling the prince a stalker in the script. Can you imagine pitching Snow White to kids and explaining that? Prince Charming gone creep is quite a bold statement. And now Gadot's explanation is that the film failed not because of Frankenstein's monster of problems, but because of the political discourse around Israel. That's like blaming the oven when you forgot to add flour to your cake. Let's be honest, Gadot is not the first star to trot out the "it was politics" card. In fact, it's practically Hollywood Mad Libs at this point. Brie Larson caught backlash for her comments on diversity in press tours for Captain Marvel. She asked for more inclusive interviews, and the internet flipped its lid. The movie still grossed over $1 billion. But that didn't stop waves of people from blaming woke feminism for supposedly making the film unwatchable. Chris Pratt, a man whose political views somehow trigger both the left and right simultaneously, got dragged for everything from his church to his vague Veterans Day posts. Did that keep Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 from making money? Number. Because James Gunn served a solid story with great character arcs, and if his acting is good, then that's all that matters to fans. The audience forgave or forgot and just didn't care. Even more obscure actors have started blaming their film failures on political attacks instead of lackluster scripts or franchise fatigue. And let's not even talk about the wave of movies where right-wing influencers claim they're being silenced or shadow banned for their truth-telling. So when Gadot blames the political climate, is she wrong that it played a role? Maybe not, but to say that's why the movie failed, that's like waking up the next morning hungover and blaming the bar for serving alcohol. It just doesn't make sense. So now, here's where we land. Snow White was always a high-risk reboot. It was a remake, things were changing, there was way more to it. The actress playing Snow White physically did not match up to the everlasting original Disney tale of being the fairest of them all, and that alone caused major controversy and debate amongst fans. You had an audience increasingly tired of Disney's "let's update this classic by gutting its entire essence" strategy. You had political tensions both inside and outside the cast. And yes, you had Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler potentially appealing to two diametrically opposed demographics. But when you zoom out, this isn't about just one film or one actress. This is about how modern Hollywood loves to toss politics into the blender, hit puree, and then serve up the slop when a film fails. It's Deflection 101. When the story doesn't land, when the marketing misses, when your once bulletproof brand starts cracking, suddenly it's the audience's fault. They're too sensitive and political. Or maybe they just wanted a good movie. And Snow White wasn't it. So now we want to throw it to you. Do you really think Gal Gadot's political stance ruined Snow White? Or is this just another example of Disney losing their spark and creativity? Let me know in the comments, because this story won't end here.